Hello and welcome to another daily video update. Quick info, I'm going to make this particular one here public. It's kind of a gift to the overall wider community because, well, it's Christmas and I thought, well, it certainly doesn't harm to give everybody, let's say as a gesture of appreciation, an extended daily update for the S&P, the Nasdaq, and then we cover the stocks that are typically covered for a Thursday. For anybody who's watching this video, what we do in our stocks membership every single day, there is a video update like this, which covers the S&P 500, the E-mini futures chart, the Nasdaq, sometimes, occasionally also some other assets like the Dow Jones. Now, sometimes there's a mix of long-term and short-term, and then 4 stocks every single day in a fixed rotation. That's part of the stocks membership. There are different tiers, so if you're interested in checking it out, I'll leave a link in the comment section. It's a growing community, specifically because the crypto sector is currently quite boring. Maybe it is something of interest. So we're covering the S&P, Nasdaq, and then PayPal, Palantir, Starbucks, and Block. I believe very interesting stocks as well. And I will give you a daily chart overview or a larger time frame overview at least, and short term for the indices as well. Again, it's kind of something that I wanna help everybody with understanding where we are on the S&P 500. So I thought instead of making a separate video, why not show everybody what we do anyway every single day in the MCO community? So yeah, check it out if it's interesting. Also, by the way, the stocks membership includes updates on gold and silver as well. I added these many months ago, actually as a bonus. They were never initially included. The Nasdaq was also never initially included, and platinum, palladium are included as well. So let's check it out. We start here with the S&P 500. It's actually the 4-hour time frame. Just want to zoom out a little bit just to show you guys the movement to the upside from the 2022 low to where we are now, basically, right? So we have from that low a possible 5-wave move up. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. I mean, since April, this chart here, the S&P 500, it's just been grinding. I mean, a very strong uptrend. The main question is, I mean, I believe we are coming to a really important point now. We still haven't got a completed top. Still not, right? Even though this move up is very extended. So because the entire move up from the 2022 low is an ending diagonal, I mean, it's clearly 3 waves up, wave 1, wave 3 as well. The wave 5 should be a 3-wave move up as well. Now, I have to say, this is really difficult to read because there isn't really much microstructure to deal with, right? So I have this initial 3-wave move up, potentially in wave A, a shallow B wave, and then all of this could be a C wave in 5 waves. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And again, also that C wave that started in May 25 seems to be a 5-wave move. That's an ending diagonal. So just to help you understand, the internal 5th wave that started in November is likely also an ABC structure. So that one more high is still the preferred scenario. For those of you who follow the work every single day, that's clear. Just as an explanation, why is one more high still the preferred scenario? There are 2 points. The first one, 3 actually. First one is we never broke decisively below the October low. So we don't have a decisive break below a previous swing low. Yeah, there was a week, it just basically stopped fishing in November, but it was not a decisive break. The pullback, second point, the pullback from the October high is a 3-wave move down. And we had a 5-wave move up from the November low. So all of these 3 points add up. Yeah, no break of the previous swing low, no decisive break, a 3-wave move down, and a 5-wave move up. And that indicates we could still see it grind towards 71.37. Now, once we have a top, and that might happen in January, February, maybe March, we should be close. We're not quite there yet. Once we have a top, the market could form a deeper pullback. Now, it could lead indeed to a bear market, or, and that's also a significant pullback, it could be the B wave here. Yeah. So there is a less bearish count, which is this one. We form a B wave pullback and then rally higher in wave C. To explain how that all works, remember that move up is already an ABC, but an ABC, who's telling me that this has to be the end of the fifth wave? The fifth wave is an ABC, yeah, but it could be a wider ABC, right? So there is this support area, which is, let me see if I need to adjust it. Nah, it's okay. So 52.20 to 60.34. Now, if we break below 52.20, I think it becomes very likely that we're going to reach the area around 3,000 to 3,500 in a much larger correction. I think it's premature to really talk about that in detail, but that's something that we've discussed before and a big risk. So, but for now, local trend is still up. Now, let's also take a look at the short-term chart, the short-term S&P. And here you can see that detailed C wave to the upside. So what we've been watching for, just for context for everybody who's new or who's not following the videos every single day, what we've been watching for was a 5-wave move up. I mean, that happened anyway. That happened, right? I can't necessarily say that this was preferred at the time, but we saw it develop as an impulse. So it became clear, okay, we've got 5 waves up. So we expect a pullback happened. Potential retest of the trend line happened. And because we have a 5-wave move up, we expected a 3-wave move down, and then a reaction in this zone happened. Now I'm watching for a move up towards 7,100 or a little higher in a 5-wave move in wave C, which might stretch into next year. 1, 2, 3. We should soon start wave 4 and then wave 5. Micro support is now, do I need to adjust it slightly? It's between 68.47 and 68.94. So this is the micro support area for upside continuation. So the short-term context is the same on the ES futures chart, E-mini futures, but a lot of community members are trading it. So I cover it separately. By the way, it was also not initially included, right? When we actually started the membership, it was just something that, yeah, I just covered the SPX, but kind of, yeah, community-driven content. So people ask for the ES, the E-mini futures. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, this is basically just the one vehicle that you can use to trade the S&P 500. There are obviously different futures, yeah, but and also ETFs you could use. But this is one vehicle, a very popular vehicle, obviously, to trade the S&P. And we have 5 waves up here as well. Just the levels are slightly different, right? We also had a pullback into support. And yeah, again, it's the same context. So here just the levels are a bit different. So what I communicated earlier today on Discord is that we have a 3-wave move up, potentially nearly complete. Yeah, what I was watching for over the last few days was one more high to complete the 3rd wave. Might have happened. Then we could now get a 4th wave pullback. And the micro support area here is between 68.99 and 69.45. Now, I have to say, one more high might complete the C wave, but I think we might only stretch to 70, 79 then. But that's not the 100% extension. It would be ideal if we could get, so maybe there's another 1, 2 hidden there. Maybe we'll get another extension. Maybe it's not just like one more high, but there might be 2 more highs. Could take us to the 100% extension, because here, standard Fibonacci targets are as important, if not more important, than the microstructure. But either way, as long as we are respecting this micro support area, which I've added to the chart, the local trend is up. Now, let's also take a look at the Nasdaq, but I want to start with the NDX, where I'm covering the daily chart as well. So what we're tracking here is similar to the S&P. I don't need to repeat the context. That's the same. Yeah, context is the same as on the S&P 500. Larger time frame chart, yeah, where we're also moving in an ending diagonal from the October 2022 low. And then zooming in a little bit, I can probably delete that trend channel, don't need that anymore. Also here we have a same situation where on the Nasdaq as well, we might see it stretch towards 27,000 plus. Same context with maybe even a larger ABC structure here. That's the orange scenario. And yeah, I mean, what we could get here is this ABC structure. So that's something to track, and that's something I expect as well. Just got to say that it's weaker than the S&P 500 at the moment. Yeah. And needless to say that once we break below the December low here, that's at 24,600. I think we have good case to, good confirmation, first confirmation that a top is already in. Until then, I would prefer a move up to 27,060. That's an important target. And then we can also watch this support zone below for a larger ABC structure. Now let's also take a look at the NQ, which is the Nasdaq futures chart. Where are we? Here. It's the Nasdaq futures. And here you see it looks a bit like the S&P and the E-mini futures. It's just a bit weaker. Okay, it's just a bit weaker. Also here, I'd like to see that 4-5 pattern, but I'm concerned that if we get just a 4-5, this might be too short to be all of the C wave. So we'll see. We have to be a bit flexible there with regards to the micro. Technically, a move to the 78.6 extension would be enough to complete all of that C wave, but it would look better if it could get at least closer to the 100% extension at $26,920. Micro support, got to adjust it slightly, is between 25,536 and 25,719. So now let's take a look at these stocks. I want to start with Palantir. So Palantir is a bit tricky because, I mean, this chart, I'm still looking for higher prices, okay? So it's not that tricky, actually. Still looking for higher prices on the Palantir chart. Yeah. Overall, I mean, I would not be surprised if it eventually reaches 330 plus. It's a long-term impulse that we've been, tracking here. I find it premature to be short-term bearish, even though there is a C wave down that's projected. In the white scenario, we have a third wave top, circle wave 3 already done in November. This is an A wave down, B wave up, C wave down, but the B wave looks a bit like a 5 wave move. Look, I can count this as a 3 wave move up on the Palantir chart. I can count this, I can interpret this as a 3 wave move up, but it does look a bit like, I mean, I do use it as a 3 wave move, but it could be a 5 wave move. It could be. I mean, visually, I can make a case for 5 waves. Both is possible. That's the difficulty here. And until we had this top on the 11th of December, it looked better as a 3 wave move. Now I'm quite neutral. Is it 5 or 3? And that's a bit of a problem because from a context point of view, this would really count well as an A, B, C structure in wave 4, and then we continue. I'm not convinced that circle wave 4 has even started. This is where the orange count comes in. I mean, it could easily just give us one more extension in circle wave 3. But in both counts, I'm looking for higher prices. I find it too early to confirm the start of a C wave down, so it's too early to be short, in my opinion. Now, that's trading, trading strategy. So I'm just telling you that from an Elliott wave point of view, there is no confirmation the B wave has topped. And from a trading point of view, if you're trading this, normally, at least if you trade with Elliott wave, you would wait for a micro 5 wave move down in wave 1, and then the wave 2 can be shorted. It would be a corrective rally with a stop above the December high. But again, this is personal decision. I'm just saying what would be best practice. So then we've got the PayPal chart. PayPal is a bit of a concern. It is a bit of a concern. The chart here has only moved up in 3 waves from a potentially meaningful low in October 23. And then we had moved down that looked a bit impulsive, but can be counted as 3 waves. So 3 up, 3 down. But then we had a micro 5 wave move up from the April low this year, and then a 3 wave move down. So this particular 5 up, 3 down move is potentially bullish, but I don't really like what it's doing down here. That's a bit of a concern here. Okay, we have a very, very messy structure here. And honestly, If it doesn't turn around here, it'll likely reset at least this V wave or wave 2 that formed in April, but possibly we might even break below the October 23 though. I'm still looking for higher prices, let's say medium term on the PayPal chart. What I don't have at the moment is a short-term upside reversal. It would take a break above round about $64 to confirm the start of the next move up, or at least to indicate it. Let's also take a look at the block chart. Now ticker XYZ. It used to be SQ. So because it's just coming after the P, at least in, just not directly after it, of course, but you've got Palantir, PayPal, yeah. And it just fits in the same line normally. So I normally cover them on the same day. And they never changed that, even when they changed the ticker to XYZ. But yeah, I mean, it normally moves in very similar ways to PayPal. Not exactly, but fairly similar. And I do have a 5-wave move up here, a 3-wave move down. Micro support is between $50.58 and $60.28. And look, when we moved up here, we had 5 waves up and we expected a 3-wave move down happened. We now have a reaction to support. So let's see if the bulls can turn this around. I really don't yet have a clear confirmed start of the 3rd wave. The question is the blue count going to play out? So we've already bottomed there and we're already moving up. Possible. Or do we need one more low? The problem is this is getting quite messy here. It is clearly only a 3-wave move up, but we have no break yet above the November high. So I'm quite neutral whether we need one more low or not, but I'm overall looking for a reversal from this region between $50.50 and $60.28. And the break above the red line at $71.50 would be a good indication we're turning this around. Let's also take a look at the Starbucks chart. I don't really see anything really actionable here at the moment on this chart. For context, this here was a significant triangle pattern. It probably was a triangle, A, B, C, D, E in wave 4. The main question is the triangle over? I'm skeptical because normally when a triangle is done, the move up is aggressive. I really don't see much aggressive movements here. So it's been quite boring. Since April, we had a move up. I label that 3 waves up, but we also had 3 waves down. So that's what makes this so difficult. It's entirely possible that we had a wave 1 to the upside, a wave 2 down, hit the 100% extension here, and now I don't know what exactly this is, but we might go higher like this, at least as long as the market is holding the November low that formed at $78.10. The yellow count for higher prices is plausible, but it's not necessarily a high quality setup. Below, I think the entire wave 4 that presumably bottomed in April will extend. Then the area of $63.50, $57.16 will come into focus. So yeah, that's the daily update. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, that's kind of a one-off gift, just because we do it daily in our membership. Check it out if you're interested. To access Discord, you would have to use the Patreon link in the comment section. That's our stocks membership, which includes a lot of stocks. Yeah, obviously the S&P, the Nasdaq, and so on. You get the daily video updates. Check it out. I wish you a great, Christmas for everybody who's celebrating, but also a very relaxing holiday period, which obviously stretches further than Christmas. Yeah, including New Year's Eve. Yeah, so spend some nice time with the family, relax a bit, and we're still here. Thanks so much. Bye bye.